All right, what is going on, everyone? We are live. Hope you all had a very, very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday. Welcome back to another live stream. Hope you guys had a very Merry Christmas. So, I actually celebrated my first Christmas ever. Never celebrated Christmas before. First Christmas ever. It was awesome. We did a bunch of Christmas stuff. I went to Deirdre's for Christmas, hung out with her family, got to meet some different family members that I haven't met before. So it was really cool. Had a lot of fun. And I'm excited to be back and almost settled into our new apartment. We've just been unpacking and unpacking and unpacking. But we're almost done. We're almost there. We're getting there. We're very close. What's up, John? How you doing, man? I'm going to drop the link if anyone does want to join live. What's up, man? How you doing, Sean? I'm going to drop the link down below if anyone does want to come on live. What's super weird, shout out to Restream for building an amazing platform. What's really weird is it says 0 people are viewing, but I can see that people are commenting. So another just really big shout out to Restream for doing another good job with their product. But yeah, Christmas. Who else celebrated Christmas? Who else celebrates Hanukkah? I've been celebrating Hanukkah my whole life. Oh, you just changed something on here. I've been celebrating Hanukkah my whole life. Always dreamt of a tree. I looked at trees through the window. I saw people with trees outside from the window. I was like, I wanted a tree. And Deirdre brought the joy of it. Well, your parents, yeah, they had a tree. So we didn't do stuff with the tree though.
No, we just put the presents on there.
Yeah, you guys put presents on it.
The tree was already up when I got there.
Well, yeah, it was already up. So I didn't get the true Christmas experience of putting lights up and trees and all that stuff. It's probably a lot more work. But again, it was really fun.
Can you switch to this just for 2 minutes?
Okay, hold on. We're switching out some stuff here. One sec. Bam. New view. Deirdre's doing some stuff with the camera. So if you guys have any questions, pop them down in the comments. Let me know how your Christmas was, or if you don't celebrate Christmas. By the way, Merry Christmas, everyone that's on right now. But yeah, so we've been doing a lot of unpacking. Finally settled here. I pretty much took like 2 days off from working. I drove up to Boston to be with Deirdre and her family. So we took like 2 days off, and one of our TikToks went viral. I don't know if we told you guys this yet on the last live stream. I can't really remember, but TikTok went semi-viral. We got 130,000 views so far. Let me take a look. About 130,000 views. Let's see. Turn that down. 130K. 130,000 views. We have 3,200 followers, and we got a bunch of new subscribers to our coffee club subscription. We didn't have anyone sign up for a coffee club subscription. Now we do, which I'm really pumped about. And it was interesting because like we didn't set things up. Like we weren't like, okay, let's get all these things perfected operation wise for our coffee club. Let's just do it. And then once we get our first coffee club subscribers, we'll fix it as we go. And that's what happened. So like now we're like rushing around. We're like, okay, we need to get the cards for the box. We need to set up the email funnels. We need to do all that fun stuff. And I think that's really important to mention because a lot of times people want things to be perfect. Like all these things need to be perfect. They need to be set up or else we're screwed. And that's just not the case. Like, yes, the amount of dollars we make on average per order or average order value is definitely lower than it would be if we tried to be perfect. But we also wouldn't be generating sales if we tried to be perfect and we spend another month or two trying to perfect things. So I've seen, this isn't just me speaking either. This is like me I guess, hanging around a lot of people. They're very successful in business, watching what they have done with their e-commerce stores over the last 5-6 years, and they do the same exact thing. Good to switch. Okay. All right, we're about to get a higher quality shot here for you guys. Bam. High quality. So Paul says, sweet office. Thank you. All Deirdre. Deirdre set all this stuff up. So we got the new studio. We're not done yet. Deirdre also got these like really cool things to hang on the wall. So it'll be looking real cool soon. But yeah, so got the plants going, whatnot. John asked if we ship to the UK. I don't know. Do we ship to international? We haven't done international orders. We don't even ship to Hawaii. We're like, screw those Hawaii people. No, it's just like one more thing that we have to deal with. I think we're just not ready to tackle international stuff for probably a couple weeks out. It's just like, it's going to take time. It's not going to be like an insane amount of time, right? It's not like I'm going to have to spend like weeks figuring out international stuff. It might take me like half a day at most, maybe a couple hours at most. But right now, those couple hours we need to spend on creating content. We need to spend on building out the email sequences. We need to spend on Facebook ads, on influencer campaigns. So we haven't been focusing on the international stuff just yet. But that's what's been going on. Now, in terms of like Coffee Club subscribers, we've been trying to figure out how do we add the most value to people? What do we do outside of just giving them a really deep discount? What else can we do? And some of the things that we're thinking of is like, okay, let's create community. Let's figure out how we create community. Let's figure out how to get them discounts on things that they're passionate about. Let's figure out what other products we could throw in discounted. So right now we're really trying to figure out how do we perfect that Coffee Club membership, because that's really what's going to be important. As it's going to be really important for us is getting those people that are like so passionate about the mission that we're passionate about. So lots going on that end. I'm excited to keep creating TikTok content. If you guys have questions, by the way, about TikTok content, when I say you guys, I don't know how many of you are online, because Restream, awesome software, by the way, tells me there's 0 people. Thank you, Resh. I just want one more shout out, Restream, good software. If you guys have questions about TikTok, drop them in the comments here. Drop them in the comments here if you have questions about TikTok. I'm more than happy to answer them. Chase asked if I got the Rona. I don't know if we got some going on with the voice, some voice issues here. But I did not get hopefully I didn't get the Rona. I really hope I don't get I wasn't real fearful of the Rona. Like during this project, all I've been doing is working. Kirsten asked me to drop my Restream affiliate link. So during this project, I haven't been fearful of the Rona. The truth is, the Rona doesn't affect people my age. People my age can get other people sick, right? So that's the whole problem. My dad's on chemo, so it'd be real bad if I got him sick. So now I do care about the Rona. A lot more careful. If you care about getting the Rona, stay the fuck home. That's what we're doing. My dad is staying the fuck home. My family, we're social distancing. If you don't care about the Rona, keep the businesses open. We do got something going on with the voice here. But yeah, that's what's going on. This week is gonna be real big for us. As a team, we gotta start setting some goals. When I say team, I mean myself, Deirdre, Logan, on the ecom team here. We're gonna be switching roasters. So that whole I didn't go live on Instagram. I gotta go live on Instagram. Just forgetting all these things. Let's go live. Let's go live for the gram. We got a lot of things to take care of this week in terms of hold on, I can't. I'm so bad at multitasking here. There we go. Live. Okay. Sorry, Instagram. We're a little late to the game. That's why I got to join on YouTube or Facebook Where are you guys watching? Everyone looks like they're on YouTube. All right, there we go. Now we're live on Instagram. So if you guys have questions, drop them. Okay, so where are we at? We were talking about progression into the next week. So you got to take these things week by week, every week by week by week. So for us as a team, really the marketing stuff is always at the top of the list. We're switching roasters though. I'm really excited about the switch. It's going to solve so many headaches that we currently have in terms of fulfillment, and we really got our costs down. And the product quality is amazing. So I'm really excited for the switch here. Everyone that's joining on Instagram, what is going on? If you have questions, pop them in the chat here. We'll get to them. Someone says my friends are really good roasters. They just don't make coffee. I don't know what that means. Does that mean like they work at a coffee establishment and they roast stuff? Okay, so we got a question here. We got a question from DeathMed1K on Instagram. He asks, I'm having a lot of trouble just getting things done. How can I train my mind to just do and not think? That's a great question. And you know what? A lot of people struggle with this, my man. A lot of people struggle with this. I think you have to be really dig deep and be self-aware on that. What is the reason you're not getting things done? And what is it that you want to be getting done? So this all starts at a very high level. Always high level, very high. All the way up here. Which, by the way, guys, can you see my arm? You guys see this? I wish I could zoom in. Do you see how black and blue that is? I gave blood. Not gave blood. Sorry. I got blood taken. And trying to get the best angle here for you guys. Got blood taken. Never had this happen before. This lady totally screwed up. And I'm all black and blue. It's insane. Literally my arm, I can't lift anything with this arm. This arm's dead. Totally dead arm. Thanks to this lady that punctured the hell out of my my vein. But at very high level, you have to be aware of what you want on the spectrum of different things. Like what will make you the happiest? What are you striving for? Like what, and for me, it always starts with impact. Always starts with impact. It starts with like, what types of people do I want to meet? What type of impact do I want to make? What type of, like, I really care about health. How do I make sure those priorities are straight? Very high level. Then you kind of work your way down from there. How do you get there? What does that process look like? And the reason I bring that up is if you're having trouble getting things done, are things aligning with what's important to you? That could have an effect on it, right? The other thing to note is, or another kind of strategy that I implement is try to do the hardest things in the morning, the things you fucking hate. Know when you're most productive. Again, if you can do those first thing in the morning, those things you really don't like, get them done in the morning so then you're done with it for the day. But I totally get that, man. Again, a lot. So I was laughing because one of my friends joined. He's yelling, please help me. Now, I guess I have more questions for you, DeathMed, is what is holding you back in terms of execution where your mind's not letting you do? Is it like you have to be aware there's some called strength finders and it kind of lays out, I'm not super into this stuff, by the way, but there is some called strength finders that lays out like what type of person you are. Are you really heavy on strategy? Are you more of an executor? Like everyone has these qualities. And what they say is like, don't like double down on your best strengths, but understand the weaknesses that go along with that strength. So maybe DeathMed, you're more of a strategizer. You really like strategy. That's great. Be aware that you like strategy enough to go, I'm doing too much strategy. I need to execute. But again, a lot of this is self-awareness. Like, are you like so obsessed with perfection that you're scared of failing or you care what other people think? And that's not why you're not executing. Again, this is a really self-awareness game. So you got to really dig deep, figure out why, and then solve for it. All right, we had a lot of questions come through on Facebook. So let me try to get to these. Someone asked if I've been singing to Deirdre again. I don't think so. Whenever I sing, Deirdre doesn't love it. Let me see here. Okay, let me actually follow up with Deb here. He says, I get it distracted easily. I'll have days where I just kill it. Then I'm like, my mind needs to rest so that pattern gets cut. Okay. Again, self-awareness. Like if you're burning out, take a break. Like, I don't think anyone should be working themselves to the point where they're working through burnout, because that's just not productive. So if you need to take a break, take a break. That's totally fine. I'm the same way. So this is really important, guys. Listen up. What you're bringing up, DeathMed, I think part of this is a momentum thing. So what I feel myself is when I have momentum and I'm moving forward, that momentum continues and continues and continues. And then when something happens, you stop. Let's think about the gym, for example. When I'm going to the gym, I don't fucking stop. I work out 5 days a week, every single morning. I don't skip. I eat clean. But then when I stop, I stop. And then you got to get back into it. And then when you get back into it, you usually get on a roll, and then it might happen again. And the reason for that is you lose momentum. So maybe try to be self-aware of that and figure out ways you can keep that momentum going if it's a momentum problem. So, maybe having a routine of like, I do this for these 3 days and then I take a break. Do this for these 3 days, take a break. Again, self-awareness. Hopefully that answers your question or is helpful. Okay, so let's see. Paul, looks like you have a question. I'll get to that in a second here. Okay, so Paul says that I mentioned bringing someone on that I knew before the project, and that would make sense when I said who it was. Oh, okay, cool. So you're referring to like the rules video. Okay, so Paul's asking if I was going to bring someone on the project that I knew previously. If you guys watched the original rules video, I had mentioned that I might bring on someone that I know, and it'll make a lot of sense. That's not going to end up happening because I moved. What I was referring to when I said that was part of the rent hack that I was going to do. I was originally when I did this, I was like, I'm going to try to get a mansion, like a huge fucking mansion that like 8 to 10 people will live at. When I try to pull this rent hack off, and I was going to let one of my friends live there. He'd pay for it and everything, but that was someone in my network. So that was kind of breaking the rules. But the reason for that is I had made a commitment to that person that I told him about the rent hack that I wanted to do. I shouldn't keep saying rent hack. Before this project, I wanted to make a mansion of other founders. And he was going to be a part of that. And then I told him, hey, I'm doing this project, but like if I do pull off this mansion, like you'll be a part of it, and I'll let people know that you're in my network. So no longer doing that. So I didn't break that rule. But that's what Paul's referring to. Let's see. Hopefully that answers the question. Okay, looks like Sunny is on. So Sunny, I'm going to bring you live in a second. I see you asked questions. I'm not going to answer it just yet. I'm going to answer one more question here, and then Sunny is going to come on live. So Tom asks, what type of ads have worked for you on TikTok? None. And I'll explain in a second. Not a fan of TikTok ads. Are you making custom videos or just running banner ads? Okay. So Tom, we haven't spent any money on ads, and other than Etsy ads, which those aren't like creative ads. Those are just like boost your posts pretty much type ads. We're about to start running Facebook ads. I did spend $85 on TikTok ads. They did not honor the $300 credit for the Back to Business program. Very frustrated with that whole situation. So for the way that they treated us and not giving us the $300 credit, they said they would. Not going to use TikTok ads for quite some time. We got 0 conversions on the $85 that we spent. And then we got a shit ton of conversions on, we did probably like anywhere from like $1,000, $2,000 in revenue just so far with that one video we made that got the 130,000 views. So in terms of actual bang for your buck, I would, instead of putting money into ads on TikTok, I would try to figure out how to storytell on TikTok and create organic content, because it just does so well if you know how to storytell and how to use the platform. Okay, so I know we have some more questions here. I'm going to try to get to them, but let me bring on Sunny.
Hey, Mike.
Man.
Hey, good to see you again.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Doing well. I've been working on my coaching business for the past few weeks, made good progress. Should I give you kind of just like a quick overview of what's been happening?
Yeah, give me like the 15 to 20-second high-level overview on that.
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, took your advice, started doing free work, took on 9 clients in total, helping them with like productivity and habit coaching.
I love
And
it. I love where this is going.
Yeah, and then a couple of them, after kind of jamming with them a bit, I realized I could help them more as a business coach and support them in that capacity. And so one of those opportunities looks like it's going to become a paid opportunity because I was mentoring a university student at my old college who is actually part of a startup program. And then she reached out to the college, asked if I could be her professional mentor for this program, which pays $1,500 for the semester. And so I'm going to kind of use that $1,500 to be like my startup kind of funding. And I'm actually thinking about pivoting kind of my approach from doing one-on-one coaching and especially away from productivity and habit coaching, because I've just found that it's kind of a tough thing to sell because people are not willing to pay that much to build better habits. But the business coaching, there seems to be a lot more kind of potential in because these people already have businesses sometimes and they're making money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started coaching this guy who's like a vegan creator, a TikToker, Instagrammer, has like 50,000 followers on each platform. And I've basically been talking with him about becoming business partners actually, and helping him with creating his own digital education products. So creating, either an online course or his own coaching program. And so I'm thinking about moving away from doing my personal coaching with a bunch of clients on habit coaching and just trying to like really be partners with this one creator, help him build up a business and create his own educational product. And then based off that case study, move into like more of an accelerator model where I would basically support creators that want to create more like of their own business or their own products around their influence.
Mm-hmm. That's super cool. So I guess is the question around that like how to navigate that?
And so what I'm really thinking right now is like I'm totally focused on how can I make this a great case study, like work with this one guy who's like he has a little bit of like brand deals and affiliate marketing, but really he hasn't done a lot to monetize. And I just want to get him to like basically make as much money as possible over the next like let's say 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can use that as like a case study for what value I can bring, and then move into more of like an accelerator kind of model. And so what I'm thinking about, what I'd love to talk with you about is like what can I do for this guy? What approach can we take together in order to go from like, he probably makes like lower 5 figures right now, and I'd like to get him up to 6 figures within 6 months.
Yeah, that's super cool. So I guess there's a couple things that you said that I'd be weary of. Like first is like equity type stuff. I love building a case study around someone
Mm-hmm.
and doing that whole thing. Just be like really careful that like, when equity's involved, what does that exactly look like? And then also like understand that if you're going to dedicate, say like 6 months, I wouldn't just dedicate 6 months to just this. I would try to start getting clients after client after client. I wouldn't just spend 6 months just on this.
Yeah.
This guy could be a huge failure point. Like a lot of the success of this could end up depending on him and how he executes whatever the coaching is. So be really cognizant of kind of what you're thinking about in that sense, because based on, and it sounds like he's a high executor if he's like doing well on a platform like TikTok, etc.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure you won't run into issues, but you could. So just be like understanding of that. Then like equity stuff is always, I'm always very careful with anything that involves equity. But it sounds super awesome. Like if you can use someone as a case study and actually do like super well, I would define everything up front. Like if he's okay with sharing those numbers for you to use in marketing materials, that's really important. So I'd talk about that and be like, hey man, like this is what we're gonna do. I would have official agreement signed that says like you're allowed to use um, everything and anything that you possibly can for marketing materials. And then when you actually go and get clients, I wouldn't just exclusively work with him. I don't know if that was your plan or not, but I'd be trying to get clients ASAP, even when you're on day one with him, try to get more clients in the door and then figure out what compensation is going to look like in terms of whatever it is that you're kind of setting up, and have some form of control just in, there, I always say make sure everything's fair and everyone feels good about everything, and make sure that like you have the control that you need to not get screwed over in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, what we've been kind of leaning towards and what he wants to do is really be business partners. So kind of moving away from the whole coaching thing and like the coaching client relationship, and really be like, partners in his business. I'm not sure exactly what the equity split would be. We haven't talked about that yet, but he seems very,
Does that align with what you want to do?
Yeah, and I think that's something I would enjoy doing a lot more than coaching. I think I'd really enjoy like being hands-on in the business, like dedicating, as much time as I can to it, like 20, 30 hours a week to building it up with him as like pretty much equal partners. Um, and and then I don't really know where I'd want to go after that, but like kind of as like for the next year for me, really put my own kind of coaching business, put that on pause, and focus on like building this together with him. Because, a lot of the reasons that I was building my own business is because I felt like I can't really be a business coach unless I've built my own business and have that reputation. But now I feel like, I can kind of collaborate with him, be his business partner, use that as like the place where I can learn my own skills. And I like that because I'm not super big on like building an audience and creating content. And that's his whole thing. And he already has the audience. And so I feel like we can get moving a lot faster with the part that I'm into.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things you can learn and leverage from a relationship like that. So I think that's super cool. The only thing that, again, I'd be cognizant of and a little bit careful of it. Anytime anything involves equity, I'm always very careful. I've had very bad, some very bad business relationships. One of them in particular was actually maybe 3 or 4 companies ago that I had started. I partnered with someone on a platform, and guy turned out to be the biggest scumbag I've ever worked with. He screwed over a bunch of people that we had hired. He was a very bad person. I actually ended up suing him because I sold the business to him and then he didn't pay for the business. You have to be really careful. It's like getting married. Always date before you go get married. So if there's a way that you can maybe work together in some capacity before officially structuring a partnership, I would really try to do that, because you really don't know people until you work with them.
Right.
And it's really important to lay everything out. Like, this is what I'm going to be responsible for. This is what you're going to be responsible for. Here, and when I say everything, I mean everything. Like, you need to communicate these things. Like, if you're like, I'm going to work 20, 30 hours a week, and he's like, well, I'm going to only work 5 hours a week on this, and then the business is taken off and everything, but you're like, dude, you need to be working 30 hours a week. And he's like, well, we agreed. I'm only working 5. You talked about it and you agreed to it.
Yeah.
So you really gotta talk about those things. And on your end too, he might be like, well, I didn't realize you were only gonna work 20 hours a week. Like, you need to be working 40. You need to be working 60, 8. Like, again, you guys gotta get on the same page with a lot of those things. So it's like work-life balance. You get on the same page with like who's doing what the responsibilities are. I would even set KPIs. Like, here's like my goals over the next quarter. Here's your goals over the next quarter. And then you can analyze them and say, okay, where did we fall short? What we do really well of? What does the next quarter look like? But again, really kind of like communicate up front, figure out what type of tests you guys can do where you're working heavily together for maybe a couple weeks at least before partnering. So you can really see if you like each other. Cause I rather work together for a couple weeks, go, I definitely can't build a business with this guy. And it's not just, by the way, it's not just like, okay, well, this person might lack a skill set that I thought he had. It also might be like, this person's morals don't line up with my morals. Like, this guy, I wish I didn't just like partner right off the bat with him. I probably would have found out pretty quickly that I did not agree with a lot of the morals this person had. again, total scumbag. Didn't know until I started working with him how much of a scumbag he was. So you really have to be on the same page with that. But I mean, it sounds really exciting. You just, again, it just sounds like some things need to be decided.
Yeah, that's why my plan was to work with them just for like 2 or 3 weeks, without really going into specifics, like creating, anything locked in as far as how the partnership would be structured and so on. And I was willing to do that just kind of on good faith for free. And that's kind of the approach I was going to take. But it sounds like you might be leaning towards suggesting like working with them in a paid client capacity in the beginning and then moving over to the partnership.
If you're going to be setting up things for him that he can go run with, that you think are of a lot of value, I think there should be like some form of a fair agreement, like whatever is fair. At the end of the day, always aim for fair. And I always aim for like, I rather the person get a little bit more than me in some way, shape, or form. Don't get totally screwed over, because that also has happened to me a lot, where I don't set up things that are fair, and then something happens and I end up getting the short end of the stick. That happens a lot. When you're kind of doing things for free and not like thinking about those things. So if you just kind of go into the conversation with like, hey, I really want to see if this is going to work out. Let's set up an agreement that's fair. If it doesn't work out. So like you should be getting comped in some way for your time, even if that's like using them as a case study. But I'd have that conversation up front.
Okay. Really appreciate that.
For sure, man. Any other questions here before hopping out?
I would be kind of curious to hear, I don't know how much kind of you think about this, but as like an initial product for his business, to create a community around people who are trying to become vegan or trying to just learn how to cook and eat more healthy vegan food. Do you have any insight into like what you think a good way to structure that kind of product would be, or any platforms that you think would be particularly cool to host that kind of community for? I really am trying to do something that's a monthly subscription, so we have like monthly recurring revenue.
Definitely Facebook group.
Like kind of the wine text approach that Gary Vee has.
Definitely Facebook groups. Facebook groups are they're really awesome. I mean, you could do Slack as well. For something like this, I would definitely, like, people in that world probably aren't on Slack. Not all of them, I'd assume. So I would go the Facebook group route. You can be really successful with Facebook groups as long as you like, it's all in terms of like the people you bring into the group, right? And like how active it is and like how much effort that you put in. Like one of the best groups on Facebook, no questions or there's no arguing this in the business world, is a paid group that I'm in personally called Trends. The best group I'm in on Facebook. There's a lot of CEOs, founders, business owners that run 6, 7, 8 revenue, 8-figure companies. I think there's a couple that run 9-figure companies, or at least sold for that much. And the amount of value is incredible because the people that are in there, and they're active. So you have to do a really good job of like figuring that out. Like you don't want not enough people. You don't want no one to be posting. So like you have to be posting all the time if you really want to grow the group. To make sure that like there's value being placed into it. So just take those things into account. I know a lot of people, their strategy with this type of stuff is to drive traffic to a Facebook group. That's like the beginning of their funnel.
Yeah.
So maybe you have like more of a free group, and then you have something that's more of a premium group. So all strategy and things to think about. All these things take time and effort, so also consider that.
Yeah.
But
so what do you like so much about the Trends group? Is it just that you can ask a question in there, and like a lot of people with really good advice will respond to you?
Yeah, I'll give you a great example. I can go to I don't know. I can go to 3 different groups right now if I have a question about e-commerce. One of them would be, I could go to like, there's a group, I don't know, there's some e-com dropshipping group, or e-com empires is a big group. I can go there and ask a question. I get a lot of losers respond to it that actually don't really know much about what they're talking about. It's just like everyone gets accepted. You don't have to pay for it. There's no barrier.
Right.
Then I could go into a group like Austin Startups. you're not going to get as much trash in a group like that because it's like a local group. So people aren't going to want to necessarily like tarnish their name if they give bad advice, but there's also a lot of rookies in there, and you're not going to get sometimes the best advice, but you also might get some really good advice from some people that are active. But then there's the trends group where you have to pay to get in, and there's a lot of people with a lot more experience in running businesses.
Yeah.
So those people, the advice is just better when you're in a group with people that run 8 figure revenue ecom business versus someone that like maybe is just starting but on a Facebook group giving advice. You're not going to get that in a group like Trends usually. So it's just like a lot of people that are a lot more experienced in their running their businesses that are in that group, the Trends group.
Yeah. So. Makes sense. Thank you, Mike. Just wanted to say thanks again for keeping this going. Having like the weekly Monday calls is like a nice way to just give me structure to like do my thing in parallel to yours. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, my man. Well, if you ever have any other additional questions, feel free to just DM me on Instagram. Always happy to help. And good luck. Sounds like you're making some good progress.
Thanks. Will do.
Cool. See you, Sonny. All right. We've had Sonny on a couple times. Really good guy. Sounds like he's really put in the work on his end. All right. So had some things come through. Let's see. On the right hand here that I didn't get to. Oh, okay. So getting back to Sean said it like they're good at roasting people. That makes sense. Because earlier I had said like, oh, they don't roast coffee. What do they roast? They roast people. They probably roast the hell out of me. Probably that'd be real easy. Okay, so let's get to more of these questions. Jay asks, how long is too long of a break? That's all up to you. I don't think I like that's like a high level, right? Like there's a lot of people, their goal is to sit on a beach. That's the goal. That is so far away from my goal. Has never been my goal. So if I took a super, 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 super long break, I would start feeling personally very uncomfortable. That actually happens to me a lot. Whenever I'm not working, I start feeling uncomfortable because I know I'm not making progress. For me, it'd be awful. Now, someone else, their goal might be, I want to sit on a beach for the rest of my life, take a lifelong break. Once they, set things up financially, that's a very internal question to answer. So it's really hard to answer something like that. I think it's all about how you feel and what you're happy with. And then, if you do end up needing a little bit more time, just be comfortable with like, I need more time to reset, to recharge if you do need a break. Let's see. Sean says that 3 months ago he was working out twice a day, hasn't left his couch much at all. Sean, so I actually used to be in shape. Believe it or not, I'm scrawny as hell right now, but I don't know, about a year ago, something like that, I was in really good shape. I was in the gym, like I said, 5 days a week. I was actually in the gym for like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. And I got in really, really good shape. And then during COVID, all I did was make excuses like a fucking loser. And I did not get to the gym, which is funny because I have two good friends, and they were also lifting. Like while I was lifting, I'd see them all the time at the office at our WeWork. And to be honest, one of them like wasn't really gaining too much muscle, but he was lifting a lot. And then COVID hit. And he kept working out. He didn't make excuses like a little bitch like I did. He kept working out. And then I see him after when I moved back to Austin before I started the project, and he was huge. I was like, dude, what have you been doing? And he just started doing pull-ups. I worked out with him. I did the whole routine because the gym was closed. We did this. He was doing pull-ups, push-ups, and dips. That's it. He was doing rounds of pull-ups, push-ups, and dips. And he got huge. Now, there's a guy who was working out 4 days a week consistently, really didn't see anything aesthetically when I hang out with him. And then that's all he was doing. And he got pretty pretty big. So excuses are for fucking losers. I made a lot of them during COVID. You got to figure out a way to work out, and I'm going to start working out now that I'm back. I'm not going to use this project as an excuse anymore. Let's see. Okay, so Sean asked, what year and specs for the MacBook you scored earlier in the project for the $800? I think so. If you guys are buying MacBook, most important thing, in my opinion, is the RAM. I don't care about storage space. I don't care about anything really other than the RAM and that it works. So I never get a computer with less than 16 gigs of RAM. So 16 gigs RAM, 15-inch, I think a 2016, something like that. But I always go with 16 gigs RAM. Jay asked if he could be a paid sponsor. Oh wait, there's a couple other questions here that I didn't get to. Not doing the maybe Jason. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so this was in terms of the partner stuff. So Jay says, always write expectation of yourself and the partner, then pass papers. 9 times out of 10, partnership doesn't happen. I don't know what you mean by the 9 times out of 10 partnership doesn't happen, but you gotta lay out the expectations up front. Communication is so important. Over communicate, so important. I made a lot of mistakes with past companies in terms of partners. That are my fault. I brought on these people as partners, and that dude that I mentioned is a total scumbag. My fault. I brought him on. I didn't vet him enough. I didn't do a good job enough initially to realize that he wasn't a good, honest person, that he couldn't execute. There's a lot of problems. All my fault at the end of the day. There's other companies I built where I brought on people that didn't have enough experience. They didn't have leadership capabilities. That's an issue a lot of people kind of run into. Guys, when you're building a company, when you have a founding team, you have leadership, which a co-founder of any company is leadership. Leadership needs to be able to hire, manage, and lead. If you're working with someone just because they have some, like a very specific skill set, but they can't hire, manage, lead, and build teams, not leadership material, not founder material. So very important. Keep that in mind when you're looking at partners. Partners need to be able to hire, manage, and lead. Always keep that in mind. Sean says he believes it's all about the body weight training. It's it's interesting. Body weight training. I've never been into body weight training. I've actually worked out pretty much my entire life. I played football in middle school. That's when I started working out, and I've never been super into body weight training. But during COVID, I'm in the Philly area right now. There's a gym in my parents' basement, so that's what I'm going to be using to work out. But all the gyms here are closed. They're all closed in Philly. Thanks, Governor Wolf. So you gotta do body weight stuff. If you're not, you're making an excuse. Most important thing is your health. You should be working out. So, but Paul says he's over on his 8 gig MacBook. Someone else says that 16 gigs of RAM is child's play. 16 gigs of RAM is more than enough. 8 gigs is also enough. That's like teetering the line in my opinion. I got really good advice by someone actually that had an office next to mine, or his desk was next to mine at WeWork when I had space in downtown Austin. And I started talking to him because he also had a scooter. It was like the beginning when scooters started to be like a pretty popular thing, like bird scooters. First thing I did is went out and bought my own scooter. So not many people had them, and he had one. That's how we related. I started talking to him, and he's like, how often are you on your computer? I was like, pretty much all freaking day. Like my whole business is run off of it. I'm always on my computer. He's like, you should probably spend a lot on your computer. That's all you do. Is like your life is pretty much run off your computer. I was like, you're right. What the hell am I doing? So I went out and I bought a new computer after I talked to him. And I souped it out. I bought like the nicest computer MacBook I could. I got like 32 gigs RAM, 15-inch. It was all, spent so much on that freaking computer. I spent like close to $4,000. And then what I realized after doing that was like, you can get really nice computers on Facebook Marketplace if you're just patient, that are really nice and not have to spend $4,000. Like the computer I bought next, because I had one of my computers that I use all the time, I left at the office, and the other computer I left at my house, in my apartment, just so like I didn't have to keep taking them back and forth. Because if I like fell while I was scootering or something, I didn't want to break it. So it was just like also annoying, like lugging this computer around. So the second one I bought was only $1,600, and it was like pretty close to as nice. It was just like a year older, and it was used. So you can get really good deals on Marketplace. I highly recommend it. Someone said that they scored a 2015 16 gig RAM for $420. That's fucking crazy, man. That's awesome. And you're also in Philly. Okay, cool. He says, I'm in Philly. We got to link up soon. We can make excuses and skip the gym and go to your cousin's food truck. Jay, who is been chatting in here, he's always on these live streams. He runs a Jay Steak and Hoagie. It's freaking incredible. If you're in Philly, you gotta go check it out. But yeah, once the project's over, Sean, let's link up. Okay, so Paul says not to rub it in, but what percentage of people you've hired during the project have quit or been fired? Seems like quite a few underperform or ghosted you. Not like people working on MDC. I mean, people you hired or worked with as Mike Scott / Scott Black. Actually, both, Paul. So I don't know what the percentage is. It's massively high. So this is really good that you brought this up, Paul. This is the first time in my life where I had to run this model. I never ran this model before, which is a hire fast, fire fast model. I don't like it. I don't like the hire fast, fire fast model. There's a lot of things we were awesome about. There's a lot of things I absolutely hated about it. And we had to do it both on MDC, and we also had to do it, or I had to do it during the project as Mike Scott. So before this project, I took my time with hiring. And I really like this approach, by the way, where you interview people, you meet people, you network. And you should always be networking, guys. Like if you're running a business, always be networking, always be meeting people that could be your next hire. I say interview people and network with people that could potentially be a hire in 6 months, 3 months, whatever it may be. Like that's how far ahead I always want to be networking for different roles I'm hiring for. And just networking because other people might know people. The best way to hire people is to network and get a referral. That is by far the best way to hire people. It has a higher success rate, and that's proven. My favorite book on hiring, by the way, is Who by G.F. Smart. Talks about the whole framework in the book. If you're into hiring, if you're running a business, read the book, Who by G.F. Smart. It's my number one recommended book because hiring's hard. Now, in this project, Hire Fast, Fire Fast model, when we started the MDC project, I came up with this idea and literally we launched like a month later. I never ran a production company. I never hired people to do any of these things. So I had to figure it all out myself. So what about doing it? I moved super quick because I had such a tight deadline to get the project up and running. Probably too tight of a deadline because I just hired very quickly and then we had to adjust as we went. So we had a couple roles on our social team that we hired, fired, and then kept. Kirsten, who's now on our team, who's incredible. We went through 2 people to get to Kirsten to fill that role correctly. And then our video team was a little bit different. We made some very poor decisions, but also in there as well, because this whole project is a totally unknown startup type situation. There was one, bad hires, but also two, a misalignment of goals once the project was up and running. So there's a situation where when we started the project, we thought a lot of the stuff was going to be shot in a cinematic type way. So the shooting for videographers coming on is going to be cinematic, and that's the type of portfolio they want to build, is cinematic. And then we took a different route where things weren't cinematic, and then it doesn't align correctly. So we had to adjust for that. But so in the MDC that happened. Then in terms of Mike Scott building the business, there was a couple situations. One, overseas, you're always going to have issues. It's a very lower hit rate on success, I've found for myself hiring overseas. And I had to move really, really, really quickly. I didn't have as much time to vet. So we had that going on. Then the whole situation with Travis was another situation where jumped into working together. That was very, very much not fun. I could tell after working with him for 2 days that it was a poor decision. And I don't want to say poor decision because like there was no other way to vet it. The best way to vet things is to work on something with someone. And a lot of companies do this. When you go to do, say, a super day, in my company, what we do is we work with you for a duration of time to validate your skill set and then move on with hiring you or not. A lot of companies will do this for maybe a week or so. There's a lot of very successful founders I'm friends with where they'll do this for even 2 weeks. And then if things work out, they keep the person. If not, they don't. And that's really, for me, I just need a couple of days working with someone. Like Logan, our current videographer, I worked with him for 2 days and I was 100% sure I wanted to be working with Logan. 100% sure. Travis, 2 days, was 100% sure I didn't want to be working with him. So when it comes to that stuff, guys, I always say you have to work with someone to really validate if you like working with them or not, if they're going to be the right fit. So in the case of this whole project, because you have to move so quickly, when you make a bad decision like that, it can be really detrimental. And in some cases it has been. I mean, with Travis, we lost our client after he totally fucking ghosted me. Not going to say it was his fault, but because everything's my fault. I brought him on, right? I got the client. I managed the account as much as I could. But after he ghosted me and left us literally the next day, said, "I'm quitting. Peace." Never showed up to the office once again. Client dropped us after that. So that was really fun. But guys, hiring's tough. So when you find people that you really enjoy working with, that really meet the culture that you've set for the company, you really treat those people well. In MDC's case, I fucking love our team. Love our team. Like, I want to be working with everyone on the team for as long as possible, as long as their goals are aligning with what we're doing. Our current team at MDC right now, I fucking love. Absolutely love. And it's hard to get to that point. You have to go through some people. And so I went a little bit of a rant to wrap that up. The hire fast, fire fast model, the pros are that you more quickly get to the person that you want to give an offer to, I guess. I mean, you're hiring them and firing them. I would suggest in a hire fast, fire fast model, though, that you go with a couple people if you can afford to do so, and then choose the best one and work with them for like 3 days. Do like a 3-day paid, I don't know, role where they like do what they'd be doing in the role for a couple of days. You get to see if you like working with them and then pick the person you like best. That's one way to do it. The cons, so the pro is you move really quick. The cons to the hire fast, fire fast, though, is you're constantly like onboarding someone new, firing them, onboarding new, firing, onboarding new, firing, and that's just not fun. It's also not fun, like firing people in general is not fun. So let's see. Hope that answers your stuff there, Paul. Okay, so Matt asks or says, starting a hair product company. Where should we look to get our first online sales, excluding friends, family, etc.? Maybe Etsy. Deirdre asks, uh, Matt, is this men's hair products or women's? So if you're starting a hair product company, here's an easy answer for you, Matt. TikTok. Can 100% guarantee, you said men's, has very biker leather slick hair kind of vibes. Okay, so Matt, TikTok. You need to be on TikTok, period. If you haven't used TikTok before, Matt, which I don't know if you have or not, go on TikTok, spend a couple hours just scrolling through videos. It'll actually be really fun. You'll probably start watching videos that you like and stuff, but more so pay very, very, very close attention to the videos that are doing well. Pay close attention to everything. Pay attention to like how many likes a video got. And then watch the video. Be like, okay, this video has 2 million views. Why does it have 2 million views? Okay, they did these things really well. Know that TikTok is looking at the watch time and the engagement rate. So really pay attention to those things and then try to dissect what works out really well on TikTok, and then start creating content for your audience specifically and put your touch to it. Like, where do you want to fall in the world of creating content for that group of people compared to other people that are creating content for that group of people? What's going to make you unique? What's going to make your content special? Where can you add the most value? Figure those things out for yourself and then start producing content for TikTok. I can promise you, if you learn, I can factually say we threw up our first video on TikTok and we got our first like 6 or 7 coffee club memberships. We got dozens of sales from our first video. This stuff really works. I think, by the way, in an Instagram post or something we put out, we said we got like 4 or 5 sales from our TikTok post. We got dozens of sales. I want to say like 30, 40 sales or more from our first TikTok post, which is still bringing in new awareness. So, Matt, TikTok and Instagram. In terms of, you said it's for men, the percentage of men to women ratio on Etsy, I think it's leaning a bit towards women. So be conscious of that. I'd still throw it up there. There's no reason not to throw it up there and see if you get any orders or not. But it depends what budget you have too, Matt. I'd throw up a Shopify store. I'd throw it on Etsy. I'd throw up a Shopify store because Etsy doesn't take that much time and effort, honestly. Throw up a Shopify store, start creating content. Then, if you do have budget, start looking at Facebook ads. Also consider influencer campaigns. So Matt says that TikTok was my thoughts, consuming trends and styles currently, etc. How important do you think commenting, interacting on numbers is on TikTok currently? That's a great question. I don't know how important it is to comment. It's really important to comment on your own videos. I don't know how important it is to comment on other people's videos because I don't do it. On Instagram, if you want to grow your Instagram following, I know that the most important thing right now, period, if you want to grow your Instagram following, go comment on other people's content. I don't do that though. Right now, I'm doing this project. I'm not taking time to go and post on other people's post comments on other people's stuff. Maybe after the project, but that's the best way to grow on Instagram organically. In terms of TikTok, I don't know. I haven't done it, but what I can tell you, Matt, is I can post a video on TikTok and get a couple 100,000 views. That's going to lead to business. That's going to lead to awareness. So, can't answer the commenting question though on TikTok. Not really sure. Deirdre says, who, by the way, everyone, Deirdre is also an Etsy pro at this point. She says she'd be surprised if men shop for hair care on Etsy. She would think there'd be more of a gift audience. It's a very good point. Could be a big gift audience, which is important, by the way, to know those things. And Etsy does have their own like keyword tool, I believe. I was using something where I can kind of see how much searches we get. I'm very curious. And this is what it comes down to is like the keywords people are typing on Etsy. Are people sending like men's hair gift Is that a keyword that people are using on Etsy? Are people going in and saying like men's hair product on Etsy? What does those keyword search terms look like? That would tell you, right? But I don't know what those are. Okay, so Kirsten says, what's our e-commerce revenue so far? We don't even update our team. So e-com revenue so far, we've cleared the $4,000 mark. We've done over $4,000 in sales. I would say 60 to 70% of that, I think, is through Etsy. The rest is through just Shopify from TikTok. All of it's from TikTok on Shopify. So I don't know how many sales we're doing a day right now. I can probably pull it up. We can take a look. Let me see. We got a monitor right here. By the way, guys, I bought this 27-inch monitor off Marketplace for $50. Great buy. All right, let's look. Let's see how we're doing. Now, one thing to note, guys, is TikTok's great to like bring in all this traffic and awareness. I'm really excited to get Facebook ads running. It's like a more scalable type of sales where it's like, okay, we can predict that we're going to get like, if we spend this much, we're going to make this much sales. So it's more predictable. So all different, but they all are cohesive, important in the overarching strategy. Okay, so let's take a look here. Yeah, we had this massive spike. Man, by the way, we had our first like $500 plus day. That was pretty exciting. Let's see. It's hard to say an average. It really is. Our average order value right now is $26. I don't think that's that great. We want that to be 30 or above. So we're $3.80 away. We also screwed up. Okay, so here's one. So I was talking earlier about screwing up. You just, guys, do stuff and then fix it as you go. Do stuff, fix it as you go. Do stuff, fix it as you go. For us, sorry, I'm looking. Someone had asked a question on Instagram, which I'll get to in a well, he's off now. So, okay, so do stuff, fix it as you go. We screwed up a little bit and we fucked up our shipping costs and we actually like pretty much broke even. We made a little bit of margin, I think, when all these people were going to our Shopify store from TikTok. But that's okay. That's okay. You're going to make these mistakes, screw ups. What was important, like I said, is that we're moving forward. Now we have some stuff to fix. We had to fix the shipping bug it's not a bug, the shipping on Shopify that I screwed up. I screwed up the pricing on there. So to fix that, like I said, we got to get the cards made. We got to get the email sequences done. We're doing that as we go. Those things will get better over time. But what's important right now is that we're moving forward. We're getting more sales. And we're pushing the mission forward and getting awareness. The one thing that wouldn't be okay is if like we're delivering like really crappy product. It's like totally crap. As long as we're not doing that, we're still delivering high quality product. These other things we'll fix as we go. Even if we take a little bit of losses along the way, we don't want to take losses, but even if we do, fix as you go. You're welcome, Matt. Appreciate you. Let's see. Abdullah, who, by the way, guys, social media expert, Abdullah, he works at a social media marketing company doing social media stuff. So he knows a little bit of stuff here. Okay. So it says facts. If you interact with others in your community on Instagram, you'd be surprised at how much engagement you get back. I used to spend 2 hours a day doing that and the results were killer. That's the way to go, guys. Again, if you look at our Instagram, we don't have a lot of followers. I have sub 2,000 followers. I could have way more followers if I wanted to, but I don't. I'm not right now. For me, I have to build a business of $1 million. It doesn't make sense for me to sit down and just fucking interact with people all day. We have to build this business. But if I wasn't doing this project, I'd probably do that a little bit more. If you're building a business, probably interact. It's probably a good idea on Instagram. Again, TikTok, different story. Instead of spending 2 hours a day, like Abdullah is on Instagram doing that, I would rather spend 2 hours a day creating content for TikTok. You'll get significantly more exposure. Right, guys? Figure out time here. So, you know what? More I say it out loud, I wouldn't do any commenting on other people's videos on TikTok. I would just keep making good content. Abdullah says he's learned that building. Oh, wow. We're way past time. I just realized that. I just get way into this stuff. We're way past time. We did it again. I keep doing this. But it's cool because I like talking to you guys and helping and I love these live streams. Abdullah says, facts, if you interact with others. Okay, we talked about that. I've learned that building lead generation ads are great on Facebook. You can have a deal offer, so people have to input their phone number and email and to redeem that offer. You then put that people's emails list and retarget them for free. Super cool. That's actually, you know, it's funny. When we threw up the store and we ran our first TikTok campaign, we posted our first TikTok video. It went semi-viral. We got all this traffic. I was like, shit, we don't have the pixel installed on the site, which with Facebook, when you do Facebook ads, you create a Facebook pixel and you put that on your site, and Facebook starts seeing the people that go to your site, and they start seeing the people that buy on your site, and it starts going, these are the types of people that you want to get in front of. So that's why I kind of sucked a little bit that we didn't have it up. And then also the people that went to our site and didn't buy, I was also like, oh shit, I wish we had it installed so we could run retargeting ads against them, because retargeting ads are the least expensive types of ads that you can run. So okay, DC, all right, we got a TikToker in here, said he reached 1,000 followers without posting a single video, but only interacted with people on TikTok Live. So there you go. The question about the should he be commenting? Maybe you should look into it. DC here. I wonder how much time was spent doing all the commenting and stuff. So that the trade-off is like how much time is spent commenting, how much time is spent creating content. But it looks like it does work on TikTok too. So maybe look into that. Thanks for sharing that, DC. That's pretty much it. Any last questions? We'll do one last question. Someone says, thanks for your comment. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining. We'll do one last question before we wrap up here. And then we'll call it a day. Whoever wants to put down the final question, we'll get to it. Looking on Insta here. Sorry, guys. I'm reading some Instagram comments. My brother likes to join the Instagram lives and just write stupid stuff. Okay. Final comment. Instagram question from David. David Chai asks, how fast can you rent out the other bedrooms? I think David's referring to the ecom house. He says he's considering a rent hack, but if I can't find tenants, I'll be responsible for the full rent. That's correct. So all 4 bedrooms are rented out. Rented out all 4 bedrooms in the ecom house. I floated 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So David, for 2 weeks, first 2 weeks of the ecom house, I wasn't collecting rents. And then by after week 2, so I guess week 3, I was breaking even pretty much. I was losing like 200. I lost 200 the next 2 weeks, which is pretty low. And then after that was all surplus. So that was my situation though. You can do a lot better. You could do worse. It's really depending on how you market it. If you chose the right property, like for me, like our property is a lower cost property. It's a nice property and the rent is like really reasonable. I found an incredible deal. It's all about the deal you get. If you can find a good deal's a good deal. So I would always have buffer though. I would just assume, first off, I did an 18-month lease. I didn't do a 12-month. I was able to negotiate an 18-month. So if you're going to re-rent, I would want the longest lease possible, as long as you get a good deal, because then you're not going to deal with like them increasing in price, whatever. And And like, hopefully when you renew, it doesn't like significantly increase, which this property will significantly increase. Like it was way too low. So in 18 months, the rent that I'm paying is going to probably at least double on this property, at least. So David, to answer your question here, it really depends, man. I'm not a rent hack expert by any means. I'm not like this rent hack expert. I just know that this works, done it in the past, and I did it again. And I would say, like, give yourself, be safe. I'm always safe on the safe side. 2 months buffer, 2 months buffer. That'd be pretty bad, but 2 months buffer, David. That's my suggestion for you. All right, last question, because I saw DC. I don't know if you asked this on Instagram as well, but you asked, is the trend subscription worth it? Absolutely. Like, of course it's worth it. I just told everyone it's the best Facebook group, and I'm in it. Like, I joined it because I thought it was worth it. What I can say about the trend subscription is if you get someone to refer you, I think you get like half off or something like that. And I don't know what it's currently. I think it's like $300 a year, an annual subscription, $300 a year. So if someone refers you, I think it's $150 for the first year. Very worth it. Like, do you think it's worth it to be in a group with people that run 7, 8 figure, 9 figure revenue companies? Yeah, that's a no brainer. It's worth it. So cool stuff. David asks, all right, last question. I like these too much. David asks, did you find tenants on Craigslist? How did you vet them to see if they're not crazy people? So that's really important. A majority of people did come through Craigslist. I put on Facebook Marketplace and Facebook groups and Craigslist. I made it very clear what the house was. It was an e-com house for e-com founders. Made it very clear. These are the type of people you're going to live with. These are the type of people you're going to meet. This is what we're going to do, etc. Very clear. Anyone that didn't fit that, I didn't interview. And then the people that I did interview, I looked up their application. I had them fill out a form, and I looked at their answers. I read their answers. I made sure that those answers were good. And then I interviewed them. And then after I accepted the first 2 people in, the next 2 people, I interviewed them. And then we did a final round interview with the other 2 tenants. So I made sure that I would want to live with those people. That's what you should do as well. Even if you're not living there, make sure you would want to live with those people and that they can add value to the house, whatever type of house you're putting together. So that's the last thing I'll say here. Paul says to drop a referral. I'll take a look. I think it's in. I know they've been having issues with their referral thing. So a bunch of people complaining, saying that like the referral thing didn't work. I'll drop a referral for you guys. I usually don't do that type of stuff. I hate like the affiliate type crap. Let me see. Okay, so give 100, get 100 is the referral. Here it is. I'll drop it right now. Best group on Facebook. Run a business. There we go. I just dropped it for you guys right there. Shout out Sam Parr. Sam's an amazing. By the way, guys, there's not many people that I look up to in terms of like really, really, really. I'm like, I love this person. There's a couple people. One of those people that's like kind of like an underground type person that's making it a come up right now is Sam Parr, the CEO of Trends in the Hustle. Like, this guy is incredible. Like, I look at this guy and like am not the word jealous, but like it's like very inspired by the group that he set up and the situation he created for himself by building this whole Trends group and what he's done with the hustles. And one of the best entrepreneurs, and someone that, let me rephrase, someone that I look up to that not as many people know about yet, but I'm telling you guys, this guy is the real deal. Such an incredible group and very, very smart individual. So cool stuff, guys. That is it for this week's live stream. Thank you so much for everyone for joining. If you have additional questions, feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram. And with that being said, guys, I will see you in next week's live stream.